is Radio Havana, Cuba.
This is Radio Pyongyang of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
This is Moscow.
All right, everybody, that's right. It's time to do something new. What are we doing? I don't know. I really don't know. But it's a little something for NaPodPoMo. Let me pull down that, let me pull that nice little intro down there. Bear with me, folks, as I try to figure out what the hell I'm doing. Yeah, I'm just trying to give Chris Pirillo a run for his money, and so we're here. It's November 1st. It's NaPodPoMo. We're recording. We've got an intro. That's a good thing. That's usually what takes all this time. And let's get to our first Skype caller, shall we? I've been trying to get something on Skype here. Oh, let's turn that down, shall we? Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Oh, this makes for compelling podcasting, folks. Well, it worked in rehearsal, didn't it?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Hooray!
That was your end, not my end.
Yeah, that was me. Sorry.
Jeez Louise. How does Chris Pirillo do this? He just sits and... Do I have a coupon code?
That's an excellent question.
Okay, so on the phone is Verso. Today it's Verso. So the name of the show is CrazyTalk.
Okay.
So what do we have for CrazyTalk today? What's your rant?
Oh, geez, you're going to have me rant?
Yes.
Can I rant about pajama bottoms? Is that a good one?
Please do.
Okay, so here's the deal. Pajama bottoms in public, stop. It's not like it's hard. They're not actual clothes.
Nope.
Please, quit it. Please, in the name of all that's holy, quit it. You know, even the raggediest pair of jeans is still better than pajama bottoms. They're not meant for public consumption. Knock it off now.
Somebody tweeted, I think it was Kyla, I believe, tweeted today, and no, it was Nico Herzog who tweeted, I can't tell the difference between college students and hobos because of the pajama bottoms. What's up with that?
Yeah. I wish I knew. It's frustrating. And I know this isn't a problem that is specific to Portland, but I know it's something that certainly doesn't help our image, as people think everybody here is either half hippie or half psycho outdoor hiker person. So, you know, either way, it's not a super, you know, we're not known for being fancy people. You don't have to be that fancy. They're pants. You can put on real pants. I'm opposed to sweatpants too, but at least sweatpants aren't explicitly designed to be something you only wear in bed.
Me too. That's crazy. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, how lazy...
I have a pair of sweatpants. I have pairs of pajama pants, but you don't wear them out of the house.
Well, how lazy do you have to be to not get out of your jammies or your slippers? I mean, come on. Just, you know...
The pairing with the slippers is just really adding insult to injury, in my estimation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are people who should know better who still do this, and I find that equally aggravating. We went to dim sum today, and we
Where'd
got
you
there
go?
about Wong's King. It's
Wong's
where you
King?
go.
Over
Yes.
there on 82nd, right?
Division, and I think it's like 90th.
We'll be looking for
Something
some
like that.
sponsorship, Wong's
Wong's
King.
King. That's where it's at. And we were there. It's like 1:30 in the afternoon, and there's this girl who's standing there. She's probably 8, 9 years old, and she's got her winter jacket on because it's a little chilly outside, and she's wearing pajama pants. Like, you could be bothered to put on shoes in order to leave the house, and you could be bothered to put on a coat because it's chilly outside. So if you need a coat, how come you don't need to be wearing actual clothing on the bottom half of your body?
Wait a minute, she was wearing a coat
Uh-huh.
with her pajama pants.
And pajama pants, yes.
Okay. Well, maybe they were flannel or something. I don't know.
No.
That's crazy.
And it wasn't okay. So, yeah. The chat room says, "What is the radius from the house that pajama bottoms are a go?" And I say the end of the driveway.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, if you're going out and picking up the paper.
Get the mail, get the paper.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
And it's also a time limit. I'm going to go with that too. It's a time limit. You can go out and pick up the paper in your jammy pants, but don't mow the lawn in your jammy pants.
Or don't mow the lawn barefoot. No barefoot.
Well, you should never
Don
do
P.
that anyway.
I'm talking to you.
Yeah, Don P is a crazy person.
Yeah, it was
We know
bizarre. And we
Yeah.
only know that because he live streamed the event. We live in a weird world where men
Don Cam is awesome.
mow the lawn in bare feet and live stream it. I mean, it's crazy, right? I mean, we'll know. I think we know everything about everybody. Like, all their bad habits come out, because we broadcast them. We're on Twitter all day,
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
and I think it's also helping to shrink the world a little bit, which was really not a problem Portland had to begin with. Portland's everybody's always randomly reminded how small a place Portland actually is.
right. And you know what? I get a sense that is Portland better at this whole pajama pants thing than other places? Or do you think other places are sloppier?
Do we see it more here?
Well, I get a sense that around the country people are even sloppier,
It could be.
Yeah, I mean, you're eating your White Castle and your Krispy Kremes, and you're just in your jammies and your sweats all the time. I mean, at least here in Portland, people are wearing sweats because they actually run. They actually exercise,
That's true.
They actually have bodies that look like they are supposed to be in the sweats, It's like, if you're wearing
like actual
sweats
workout clothing. Yeah.
and you're gigantic, what are you doing in the sweats? You're not working out, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm having a drink
I'd go with
now.
that, I would say.
Oh, my word.
What are you drinking, Dr. Normal?
I'm having a little, I did not drink yesterday at all, by the way. Halloween. Not one
How
drop.
did you survive Halloween?
I ate a Whiffies late at night.
Well, that'll do.
Yeah. Well, I was designated driver, so, I had to be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And Halloween on a Saturday night was crazy.
I can't even imagine.
That's right. So right now I'm just drinking a little single malt McClellan scotch. Nice end of the day kind of a thing. What are you drinking?
Right now it is, what is it? English breakfast black tea.
Oh, yeah, I've been drinking a lot of that myself. Actually. No, seriously. I've been getting the PG tips, some of that too. And then I had this
How's that?
Tuca. It's all right. It's all right. It's nice. It steeps like in 2 seconds.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like you just drop it in and you got to pull that bag thing out like 2 seconds. So, but I have the little balls. I don't know what those are. They're little balls. They're start with a T or something. They They look like little balls of leather, and they taste like balls of leather. It tastes like chewing on a glove. I'm not joking. I can't remember the name of it. Maybe someone in the chat room knows the name of this
sounds tasty.
tea. Yeah, it's good stuff. So I had a little of that earlier today as I was trying to set this crazy thing up. So what's trending on Twitter? I got my laptop here.
Let's find out.
Let's see what's trending on.
Quick to the feeds.
Yeah, of course, the real-time feeds. You know. Now, where do you go? Where do you go to get the real-time feeds? Because you're kind of a nerdy girl, gal. I'm sorry.
I have no.
Okay, that's it. This call's over.
I'll give you the same. If you do it again, I'll give you the same warning I gave BMW when he did it.
Yeah.
If you call me gal again, I will knock you out.
That's not good. Gal? You don't like gal?
Yeah, gal's the one I don't like. Yeah.
Really?
Really.
Huh.
It just seems a little. I don't know. From there, it seems like it's not that far to hun, and I get that a lot from.
Sweet
I used
cheeks?
to get that a
You
lot.
like sweet cheeks?
I don't mind it. Never known anyone who said it with a straight face.
They exist.
Yeah. Hun is usually the people who would call when I was a software support technician. I'd get hun from people who wanted me to transfer them to the real technician. Because I had a female voice, they figured I clearly wasn't the person they would talk to get their computer fixed. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys, they call you hun.
Speaking of which,
so
here's my guy in tech support. Right here. It's my tech support guy right here. Yeah. If you saw the Strangelove Live or not, you'd know what that was. And then we've got, I don't know if you can see him over here. We've got Aussie Darth Vader.
Aussie Darth Vader? I can't see him yet.
I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So what do we got trending on the Twitter?
Yankees.
What's going on with them?
I think they won, and I don't know that they won tonight's game so much as Philadelphia just sort of handed it to them.
Who are you rooting for?
Let's see what else is trending.
I don't see Yankees on search. I see
anyone
A-Rod.
against the Yankees.
Phillies. You just looking at the homepage?
Yeah, I went to my Twitter homepage.
Oh, here we go. Here's
I'm
Yankees.
logged in and went twitter.com/home.
Yeah.
And so the trending topics down the side are the worst, Halloween, Yankees, Music Monday, For Your Entertainment, Paranormal Activity, Good Night, A-Rod, Google Wave, and This Is It.
Seriously? It must be a Sunday. Because those are really crappy trending topics.
They totally are.
So nothing.
Okay,
there,
so
huh?
let's hear about your stance on This Is It.
On This Is It? Oh.
Yeah.
I don't. You know. I don't even have time for trending topics. You know that? Isn't that sad? I seriously don't.
I generally don't look at them because it's not usually something I am interested in.
I like breaking news.
I liked it better when we used to be able to make things trend.
Yeah. We made. Oh shoot! Now I don't remember what I've got a screenshot of it somewhere.
Ignite Portland. We've trended a couple of Ignites. We trended WordCamp Portland, I think, to the top. We trended seriously to the top. So yeah, we've done a variety of them.
I think. How do I do this? How do I conference someone in? Do you think I can conference somebody in here?
Let's see. I honestly don't remember.
Skype test call?
Yep.
No. Oh, well, how am I supposed to conference?
Well, you could try
it.
Skyping them in and see.
There she is. Okay. Dude, I don't think Cami's ever seen Chris Pirillo. Well, I mean, she's seen Chris Pirillo, but
yeah.
How the hell do you do a conference here?
Under more.
Under more. Where's
I think
more?
in the call, if you go to more.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
I know there's an add to conference option, but I don't know if you can do that.
Oh, here we go.
I think
Menu.
you have to do it. You called.
And then, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, here we go. Answer. Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to answer something. I might drop you, so hang on.
Okay. I'm hanging.
Hold current call. Okay, so hang on. Hello? I can't hear you. Hey. Hey. How you doing? Oh, this is exciting.
Yeah, this is very, very exciting. I have to turn off the thing here so that I can talk to you. I hear you twice now.
Yeah, turn that off. Is anybody in the chat room, what do I click on to conference the call? Do we know? We probably know. I don't know.
Click on the word more.
Yeah, hang on.
Can't you do an add to conference call? This is quite literally the most boring show I've ever watched. This is why I don't watch podcasts.
You know what, caller? Yeah. Thanks for that.
Am I an audio troll?
Yeah, you're totally an audio troll.
Should I say something nice?
I got resume call with Kelly. Let me try
try
that.
it. See if it hangs up on me.
Yeah. Hold the other call. Come on, guys. I'm looking for the chat room. Jeez, man. Call. Hang on. Combine calls to create conference. That would be under call. Hey! Oh my God.
That was really
it's
exciting.
Like brain
happening.
surgery here. This
goodness.
newfangled Skype.
You guys were making me fall asleep. And I'm saying that, I mean, granted, I'm laying in my bed and I'm all comfy.
Are you in your jammies?
I'm in my
Yeah,
house.
but she's not trying to leave the house.
I am in my house. I can wear all the pajamas I want to. I could wear 10 pairs of pajamas right now and not a word could be said about it.
I thought the
At once.
pajama subject was good.
She's wearing all the
pajamas.
pajamas.
Fine. It was when you guys got to the whole trending thing. That
I'm sorry.
It's not like there's anything exciting trending right now.
That's true.
Are we talking pajamas? So what do you want to talk about? So caller, what do you want to talk about?
I want to know what everyone was for Halloween. That was yesterday, people. This is still a valid topic. Halloween's a very important thing, and it doesn't get enough time and energy in the media.
Okay.
Kelly, what were you? Have I identified myself yet?
Do we know who you are?
I don't know.
I'm Cami freaking Chaos. Tell me what you were for Halloween.
I don't know, Mrs. Dr. Normal. I'm not sure you've identified yourself yet.
I'm Cami.
She just did.
Hey, Kelly, what were you for Halloween?
I can tell you one thing. She's not a gal.
I actually wasn't anything. We didn't end up getting to do anything, so I didn't even dress up because I'm lame.
You didn't even put kitty cat ears on or anything?
No. I did make Rice Krispie treat tombstones to send to the office with my husband.
Okay.
Does that count?
Yeah, it does. You did something.
As Halloween activity? Okay.
Dr. Normal, what were you for Halloween?
Hang on. I got another call here. So I'm
my
going to
God,
put you guys
it's
on hold.
very confusing.
I'm going to see if this works. I have no clue what I'm doing, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, you're on the air. Hello?
Hello.
There you are.
There I am. I should probably pause the other one.
Okay. Yeah, please do. Okay. Are the dishes done yet? Okay. So right now we should have Cami. And, wait a minute, who's on hold here? I'm hearing dishes.
That would be me.
Okay.
But I'm sitting here on a headphone, and I'm trying to mute the dishes part.
Okay, so, jeez, I'm never going to be a talk show host. Of course, they don't have to do video. They don't have to run a TriCaster. What do you mean start conference call? Oh, I see. I can't just add you to the conference call?
It says I'm the host now, and it says Cami's on hold.
Let me see what happens here. Call on hold.
And Verso's on hold, and you're there.
Remove from conference. Hold the conference. Oh, this is crazy. I need someone to ride shotgun here. Do
you
more.
need me to hang up, or let me see? I've got start conference call.
Welcome to NaPodPoMo 2009. The reason why CamiKaos doesn't listen to podcasts or watch live streams. No, I'm the host. We got a call in progress. I can't seem to add remove from the conference. Oh, wait a minute. What do I do here? Hang on. Hey. Oh.
Hi.
Okay.
Howdy do.
Hang on. I'm getting there. Oh, are you guys all on?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yes.
I'm here.
Jeez Louise.
Does this
The
mean we're all
Skype thing
stuck
was made in
today?
Europe, right?
We're starting to sound like some sort of like bizarre robotic.
Skype is really easy. The problem is when you're running all this other crap at the same time. It's kind of hard. So, where were we?
I wanted to know why people aren't dressing up for Halloween. It upsets me.
Okay.
I just didn't have I don't know what this year, but I really wasn't
what?
feeling it. I usually do.
You've been sick. I forgive you. You're off the hook.
There's no
Thank you
forgiveness
Thank you for
here.
that dispensation.
Betsy, did you dress up?
Oh no, I haven't dressed up for years.
Are you serious? What the
I
hell's
am
wrong with
lame
you
and-
people?
Well, you know what? Here's the deal. My costumes are usually made from. Let me see. The last costume I think I'd made, I used an old bridesmaid dress, and I was the Tooth Fairy, which should give you a pretty good idea
That is
of
awesome.
how hideous that dress was. It was
Oh. Hey,
seafoam
guys.
green.
I have to go. I have an unexpected visitor, and
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
I need to put her back to bed.
Just hang up.
Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Good night, and good night to your visitor.
I thought we'd never get rid of that collar. Man, crazy in the head. So, Morgan was Evel Knievel last night. In a
I
handmade
heard about the costume. I did
Evel
not get to
Knievel.
see the
It was
costume.
beautiful. It was absolutely wonderful.
That's fantastic.
Yep. It was good. I liked it.
I'm
and
impressed.
being somebody who, grew up with Evel Knievel, I'm pretty well versed in Evel Knievel. Evilness. I don't know.
There you go.
This is about as compelling as the Twit Network. Oh, I didn't say that.
Well,
But hey, I'm working toward my first 1.5 million.
Hey.
tell me what your overall goal with the show is. Do you want people to come on here and rant? Do you want people to come on here and
That sounds good.
Ranting? Yeah.
Basically,
You
I
gotta-
needed to submit a podcast
Okay.
for NaPodPoMo. Because, okay, so NaPodPoMo, what the heck? People are like, what is it? In November, just like NaNoWriMo and NaBlowHo, I don't know, blogging once a month, write a novel.
Right.
Every day for a month, yeah.
Every day for a month, they have a podcast every day for a month. And I'm not sure when it was started. I think it was started like 2 or 3 years ago. But I got into it last year and met some cool people. And, generally I didn't podcast. I mean, I was kind of posting shows that we had done previously and then doing our live stuff. And, there was a lot going on. And at one point, Cami did Ignite, and I posted that. So it's happening this year. It's November 1st. This year, I'm going to do something new and live every single day. We have plans for launching some new shows. As you know, we've got Meme PDX going on. We're working with some other folks to launch some stuff, and I've got a few other projects in the waiting. But it's like these things take time, to hatch. So I was kind of scrambling to do something tonight. And yeah, I mean, I think a ranting podcast would be really great. But we're 25 minutes in and no one's ranted. Well, I mean, Verso gave us the pajama rant, so
Right.
I'm all open to ranting. But this is the thing that people have to understand, and you guys have heard me say this before, either privately or publicly, and that is that, you know, this media is organic. It's like blogging. It's supposed to be the first draft. It's supposed to, you know, evolve in front of the audience. This isn't like you sit down and you do market research and you plan for 6 or 12 months and then you launch the show. What you want to do is you want to get out there and make it happen and then see how it evolves. That's how Strange Love Live evolved. That's how Meme PDX is evolving right now, and that's how all the other future shows will evolve. And that's the great thing. And your audience actually, hopefully they persevere and they feel a deeper connection to you. So that wasn't a rant.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Is profanity allowed?
You know, sure. I mean, I don't know. We haven't defined.
Well, it is
rules.
your show.
I haven't figured out the rules yet.
Okay.
You know, so
Because I have a rant.
Well, I'm all for rants. You know,
I think that the general topic or the general theme, and then I have one specific instance. The general theme is asswipe drivers. The specific is, what is it with the people who are pulling up to a light, single lane, by the way. They wait until the light turns green before they turn on their left-hand signal. What is up with that?
now you're from New York. You're from the East Coast.
No. I lived in Michigan. I lived in the whole, Motor City area. I lived in New York for a while. They would never fly in New York. Somebody would back end your car. They would ram into the back of your car.
Anybody I know from the East Coast, from Michigan, anywhere, they cannot stand driving in Portland, Oregon.
Oh. Well, I mean, there are lots of things about Portland, Oregon drivers that are just totally insane.
Driving in Portland, Oregon is like a fine wine.
Mm-hmm.
We will make no turn before it's time.
Jesus. But but this one is the one that drives me nuts. You're behind the driver. The light is red. There's room that I could move over to the right to maybe get around him if I knew he was turning left. Mm-hmm. What is it with waiting until the light turns green before you put your turn signal on?
Yeah.
Well, how old was the person? I mean, was this...
No. I run into this probably 3 to 4 times a week. And I'm talking different drivers. And it's because I drive up and down 21st. And I'm usually aiming north to go 21st across Broadway. And that light, right where you've got 7-Eleven and Jiffy Lube across the street, and there's this driver sitting right there. And, it's 50-50 chance that he's going to want to go left onto Broadway or go straight through the light. But you can never, ever, ever tell because they don't use their frickin' turn signals. And so your choice is, do I move over to the right-hand lane where I'm going to biff some bicyclists? Or do I wait behind the driver in the left? What are my chances of actually getting through the light? And I'll tell you, more often than not, you don't. Because the idiot turns on the frickin' turn signal when the light turns green.
Well, but I think the bigger problem we have is the bicycles and the cars.
Don't get... Yeah, that's
so
my
where
next...
do you stand on that? I mean...
Well, here's the thing.
Should bicyclists pay road tax?
They should now if all they're doing to spend money on is paint everything green for the bikes and take away a lane of traffic for the bikes and paint a whole bunch of extra crap on the ground for the bikes, then why aren't they paying for the paint?
A car is a lot larger than a bike. I mean,
which is why, right or wrong, if I hit you with my car, odds are good I'm going to win. Why aren't you paying more attention?
Well, there is that. I mean, here's the thing. When I'm around bicycles. I drive defensively just like the other guys. You know, like the defensive driving that everybody who's like over 30 or something learned that apparently no one's learned now. So I'm figuring that guy on the bike's going to do something stupid, and I'm going to end up killing him as a result. So I drive very defensively. I'm very because I've not just bicyclists but pedestrians do some crazy shit on the roads, and I don't know what they're thinking. I know if I get on a bike or I'm a pedestrian, I'm like looking about 10 different ways, for the guy who's just zooming up in his trash car, to figure out what's going on. So I mean, I am really, really careful about that because the last thing you want to do is kill somebody.
Exactly.
Unless, you're feeling it that day. I don't know.
I feel it every day, but you take that opportunity to ram into a bicyclist. Yeah. I think the favorite thing that I saw, and this is with my daughter in the car who wants to be able to bike to and from school, and took her bike safety class and has the whole thing right down, is that she'll look out the window too and say, there's somebody over there. Technology?
That's my default.
I don't have, well, for you, yes. If I say, Portland media, and you'll talk to me for about 15, 20 minutes.
I have nothing about Portland media. What's your problem with Portland media? Portland media is great.
Nothing. It's lovely. It's a lovely day.
I just don't like it. I just don't like it when journalists, trash the blogs. That's my pet peeve. When you come on and you start talking about the dirty, unwashed bloggers, and I don't mean
in their pajamas
say that
we must be wearing out of the house, God forbid.
Yeah, and it's like stop it. You're telling us that. I'm sorry, you work for a newspaper. How long are you going to have a job? Yeah. I mean, well.
The thing about it is that they also don't seem to have any awareness either. I mean, think about like for every, Walter Cronkite, there's somebody who works at the Inquirer who is basically writing fiction but calls it reporting. Like just like there are insightful and well-spoken and well-informed journalists in every media, TV, print, whatever. Just like there are those journalists, there are those bloggers. And it's like they refuse to accept that because I'm putting it on WordPress instead of on KGW, that somehow what I'm saying is less valid. And that doesn't mean that because I'm a blogger, I am automatically validated. I mean, it's just like journalism. You have to earn your credibility over time, just like anything else. Like if I continue to write things that aren't true, people aren't going to come to me as a source of any sort of pertinent information. And it's exactly the same thing that journalism is. There are people who are respected and, full of information and insight, and there are people who aren't.
You're right. You raise a good point because there was I read something somewhere about, I can't remember who tweeted this and reported it, but it was a research about there's tons of young people going into journalism school, or there appears to be. I mean, people haven't stopped going to J school. Right. And one of the reasons that they're going to J school was, and I can't remember how it was phrased, but it was, and if I say it the way I read it, it was phrased that they're going there basically to get stardom, kind of to get fame. I mean, that it was phrased much differently than that, and I don't mean to trash that, but I mean it was. And if you look at the people who are moving to smaller markets and to broadcast, I mean these are not the Walter Cronkite looking people. No offense, but it's the weatherman who moves and then becomes David Letterman on Late Night with David Letterman. Yeah. It's like it's almost like a means to get somewhere. And I'm not talking about the this probably isn't the hard-nosed journalists. We're probably pissing a lot of people off, but that's okay. I mean, they can come on and we can
whatever.
talk about it,
Yeah.
But, if you look at the weather, the lifestyle, these other kind of what I would call fluffy news. This isn't news you need, right? You need to know about the murders in your neighborhood and what the government's doing, which, by the way, journalism has really screwed us on that. I mean, if you look at the way right now the media is treating, no offense, I supported him, I voted for him, but if you look at the pass that the Obama administration gets,
absolutely,
and I'm not talking about Fox News and what is it, the Washington Times. I mean, I'm talking about the crazies. I'm talking about mainstream media coming in and going, well, hold on a minute, who's this guy who just got appointed in your administration? Simple questions like that.
And the problem is they're not asking that. It's like, why does he deserve it? It's not like, who is this guy and what sort of factual information can we pass on? It's, who was his nanny? And does he have an ex-girlfriend who's on a reality show right now? That's the angle everybody's taking.
Well, it's all noise, right? The right creates the noise. The left creates the noise. And it's all us people here in the mainstream that are trying to get the real news and the real facts. Mm-hmm. Betsy, weigh in. You need to weigh in on this. Are you still there?
I'm still here. I'm reading the chat room, and a related topic over here is like news as a talk show. And I think that's the place where we're getting to, is that when, serious topics get conflated or deflated down to the level of who is the nanny, where's the birth certificate, everything goes down to the lowest common denominator. So what do? Do we just fill the channel with noise and wait for people to figure out what's important and what's not? I mean, part of the role that the mainstream media is supposed to be playing here is not only do they help elevate the topics of importance because they've chosen to cover it. So if we've got CNN doing non-stop wall-to-wall coverage of frickin' Balloon Boy, is that really the most important thing, or the critical issues of the day? Or is that just people running to get the sensationalist news that people will pay attention to? Jesus.
I think it's a ratings thing, and I know that everybody, when you listen to old media talk about, the end of media and how media is dying, nobody seems to point back to the fact that what I think was probably what should have been the first real slap in the face, so to speak, of media as far as a wake-up call, is when Jon Stewart won a Peabody for excellent news reporting for a show on Comedy Central.
By the way, I
why
want
would that
watching
not
Jon
the thing
Stewart
people wondered
take
about?
on.
By the way, I just wanted to say, before we go too far afield here, I'm looking for a Peabody in podcasting. I really am. I'm working that. Okay.
Okay.
So
you're trying your camera angles there too.
That's right. I mean,
You'll need to whip up
does
some tears for that.
Really?
I think you'll need a few fake tears. Oh no, that's an Oscar. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Was it? Wait a minute.
Or a daytime Emmy. I forget which.
Was it Jon Stewart or was it? I thought it was Stephen Colbert.
He won one too.
Okay. Yeah. Crazy.
So, and when Jon Stewart was on Crossfire a few years ago, the clip of him on Crossfire that was posted on the internet actually got more viewers than the show itself. And as Jon Stewart put it at the time, the show you guys are on the cable news network. News is right in the name. The show that comes on before me is puppets making prank phone calls.
I remember that.
Uh-huh.
That show's not on anymore, is it?
That's the sentence that sticks with me. No, there's no more Crazy, which is too bad.
He actually, I think, did that during the Jim Cramer interview. When he got Cramer on, he might have repeated the line before, but I mean that's. Yeah. His takedown of Jim Cramer was masterful. It was just amazing.
It was impressive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, give the guy credit,
And the thing I think that's interesting about Jon Stewart, and part of why I am one of the people who finds him more watchable than some of the other new shows, is that he's fair. He doesn't cut Obama any slack.
He was fair to
If he
John
sees-
McCain, by the way. Very fair,
Yeah.
I think.
And like he sort of is, I like to call it being an equal opportunity offender. He doesn't really think that anybody's off limits, and I find that lovely because he's like the only person on TV who does that anymore.
Well, I think
So-
that the difference is, Kelly, you're drinking English breakfast. I'm over here drinking bourbon. You're gonna say that. I'm gonna say the man has balls. The man has balls.
Well, that too.
And,
I mean,
that's the thing.
But that's
And I
a
think
piece
that's
of journalism, is having the nerve to come out and say something like that. Like, I don't think this is right. I'm not sure the government is telling me what I
Right.
need to hear.
Right.
You know, that's the kind of thing that got Walter Cronkite attention. It's the kind of thing that turned a reporter into a journalist. Was the point when you can do that.
So where's our Woodward and Bernstein?
That's what I'm saying.
Seriously. Betsy? Are they on
I
the
don't
blogs?
know.
Are they bloggers?
They could be. They could be. I think that some of the stuff that blanking on the names right now. I think Talking Points Memo does some interesting stuff, although I haven't, to be honest, followed in a while. I think that people will pick up, bloggers will pick up topics. I mean, we see this time and time and time again, where somebody will pick up a story and run it on a blog, and the next thing you know, mainstream media jumps in and covers it as if they discovered the story. And we've just got to get used to that, because it's going to continue to happen. But the reality is, we got there first. We got that story. We're the ones who may be closer to the story. We may not have the complete objective credibility. Let me step back. We may not be objective, but hopefully those people who really care about what they're doing will have established the credibility, will try to maintain the balance, and you'll get there because of your reputation to do good work, while still being opinionated. And that's the thing. And I said this before, and I was joking, but I think it's really true. We just got to get some balls. You know, this is what I believe. This is what I've learned. This is what I stand for. Here is my opinion. Take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so, I mean, here's the deal. You have to fund this, right? We all know that. And
no, I like the cash flow negative model, baby.
don't we all?
It's what I'm living. But.
Well, yeah. But we have to fund this, and the bottom line is, news has always been this lost leader, and ever since NBC was acquired by GE, and, I'm sure there's other examples, you just can't do the investigative reporting that you need to do. I mean, when you've got the mother corporation sitting there going, you'll run this story, you won't run this story. I mean, it's all economics. This whole thing is economics. And I don't blame the journalists.
I think that's a cop-out. I think that's a cop-out. Yeah, I do.
Oh, when you're talking that much money?
I think it's easy for the people who work for NBC to say, we can't do this because the mothership won't let us.
Jim Lehrer, brought to you by Archer Daniels Midland.
Right. I think there's a level of collusion.
Endowment.
And I think there's a level of going along to get along, because you've got your job, you've got your mortgage, you've got your kids in school. You know already that they've killed the last 5 stories. Do you really want to go up to the plate for the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th? Probably not. So then you have a decision to make. If you're a journalist, if you really believe in what you're doing, do you take that pay cut? Do you go out and try to do it on your own, or do you just go along with the flow? And a lot of people who are good people, who have the training, have decided to go along with the flow. So what that means to us, instead of yelling at them to get off their ass and do it the right way, we got to go out and find a different source. Go out and find people who are willing to speak truth. Don't give them the credibility. Don't look at them and say, you ought to be doing a better job. If they're not doing a better job, find somebody who will.
Yeah.
And that's me after half a glass of Basil Hayden.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I don't know. I mean, people got to get paid. I mean, when you're looking at, first of all, oh God,
Here's the thing. I've been in the media business for 20 years now. I no longer have a subscription to the Oregonian. Can't tell you the last time I watched mainstream news.
Yep.
I get my news from the internet. I get my news from podcasts. I get my news from conversation. I get my news from people who will say, you need to read this story here. You need to go read this coverage over there. So I don't have loyalty to any one particular station or channel. And when I say channel, I mean, news channel like the Oregonian, AP News or that news. I think the closest allegiance I have to any information source right now, single information source, is probably Jon Stewart. Because I know that he's going to be able to take this story and say, here's the spin they originally tried to push. Here's me doing the behind-the-scenes digging. And here are the things that you might want to consider if you just read this and accepted that at face value. But it requires that we all apply our brains and figure out what's important and what's not. Now, can most of us do that? I don't know. I run into some really stupid people out there who are used to being spoon-fed. So
where's your go-to?
On the web. I don't have any answers. I just have rants. Sorry.
Yeah, but tell us, who's your go-to on the web? I mean, so when you sit down, you used to read the paper, right?
I did.
So
the running joke is that I loved Steve Woodward and I wanted to help pay his salary. There were lots of people at the Oregonian that I liked and appreciated, and I wanted to help keep that model afloat. That, and if you believe their advertising and part of it's true, I wanted to be able to get the coupon in the Sunday paper. And there's a lot of good non-news coverage that the Oregonian does a very good job of aggregating and bringing you. Again, you have to apply your own filter to it, so that I'm going to read Karen Brooks talking about a restaurant, and I'll know, I don't believe it's all that. But it's only because I'm paying attention and I'm able to separate out the good stuff from the not so good stuff. So,
well, isn't this beyond the restaurant review? Because, the restaurant review isn't people dying in the streets. I'm sorry. Same with the book review. And some people, and folks, when I was in college, I was studying music, so I know a little bit about the liberal arts, okay? I mean, I'm just saying, I just want to say that. But here's the thing. I'm talking about the real news reporting, the government, what in the heck we're doing in Afghanistan and Iraq. I mean, these sorts of things. What are we doing in the world? So the restaurant review, I mean, if you want to read tech, you can read Tarosi, right, at the Silicon Florist.
Right.
And
that's
generally
you end up separating it up by topic.
But he's not doing, he's not going out and digging up the dirt necessarily, but he's making you familiar with what's going on, right? And that's good information because you're exposed to those companies, and that's interesting to see. Same with the books or the literature. I mean, the weather, right? I'm talking about the real news. But here's the
thing.
Stuff that,
the national news can be gotten anywhere. The gap that we have right now is the local news.
Where can the national news?
National news? You can get the national news all over the place online.
Yeah,
Just pick your favorite. What you don't get, what you don't have, is good, decent local coverage.
Right. Well, I mean, you say you can get the national news. There used to be those trusted sources that you could get the national news. I mean, even on television, right? And so that's gone.
NPR. I mean, for me, I don't have. Part of it for me is
I think they've gone soft.
I
think NPR's gone soft.
I haven't listened to NPR in 2+ years now, and that's because I've got my iPhone plugged into my car stereo, and everything I do is based on what it is I want to listen to. So
I just think that I think they've gotten soft. I mean, you turn on if you turn it on the radio, and there's just this stuff that's I can't explain it. It's just non-offensive, right? Mm-hmm. It's not stuff that you're going to go get. No one can get mad anymore when they listen to the news, and we don't want to offend anyone. I don't know. I'm just saying. I think they've gone really soft.
Oh, I agree. I agree because they're playing to the lowest common denominator. I mean, they have to. If you're losing your audience left over right, you have to dive down to to a non-offensive stance because you can't risk alienating the last few people who are still paying for your product.
So, so is reporting going to be?
It's preserving the base.
So is reporting going to be aggregating Betsy and drnormal and Verso and everyone else, aggregating what's going on in the neighborhood and getting the true story? Is that the future?
It's not. It's not a pure aggregation. I think that what
you still need curation.
To do is there still needs to be somebody. There still needs to be a filter. There still needs to be somebody who says, "I trust these people, and I know that you are expert in, let's say, school politics and school issues,
Right.
and I know that you are an expert in, traffic, and I know that you are an expert in what is happening in the bicycling scene, and you are the people that I want to be doing content for me." And we'll aggregate it together. I mean, here's the thing. Aggregation doesn't mean that you leave your brain behind. You still have to make critical decisions about what's good and what's bad. Because you don't want to aggregate everything and then have people wade through the fire hose to figure out what, 2% of what they're reading is actually valuable. There still will need to be editors, filters, people with intelligence to make good decisions and to package the information. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I haven't written on RPDX in 2 months. I still spent a ton of time putting together the content that's there and presenting it and making it easier for people to consume.
We should do a shout out right
There's
there.
a role for that. There's a role for that.
We're not doing proper introductions, but Betsy can be found at rpdx.com.
Yeah.
OURPDX.com.
Yes.
That is her blog. How would you describe RPDX?
Well, unfortunately, we have been slack in the last couple of months, and part of that is because I've put myself in that role of aggregator and den mother, and I've been swamped with a bunch of other things. So,
Tell me about it.
Look for an RPDX 2.0 coming to you soon because we've got some good stuff coming in under the hood. But it really is trying to get local people with their perspectives and their voices talking about the city they love.
So I wanted to say something.
Yeah, we don't pretend to be objective at all.
Well, no, and no one is, right? That's the whole point. And when you talk about going to the local, the guys who are doing the Bike Portland or whatever, they're all going to have a bias. But
sure.
you said something about the fire hose, and I think that that's purely a technical problem. I think that that's a problem that can relatively easily be solved on the web. I mean, if you look at the amazing tools that we have at our disposal and the tools that will come in the future, provided someone or some entity doesn't come in there and find a great way to game the system.
Who's going to train the people to use the tools?
That's true. And now you're talking about a stratified society, a society that still is turning on the boob tube, and a society that's tech savvy.
Well, here's the deal. I think that some of it is a question of intelligence. Some of it is a question of interest. I think a lot of it is who has the time. Who has the time? I'm a very smart person. I know that I can sit down and spend 15 minutes figuring out how to do Yahoo pipes, or I can probably, buy Nate De Niro a drink, and he'll walk me through it. I don't have the time.
But that's a business opportunity.
Yeah.
That's something you can sell.
Just like you have a mechanic who I don't try to change the oil in my own car. I probably could. I don't. I drive to Oil Can Henry's and they do it for me. Using a fork fly coupon, by the way.
Oh, great.
Didn't mean to be throwing the product
on this podcast. But that's a good point. You're talking about, sitting down with someone. I mean, those people are out there, and those businesses are about to break. I mean, that's something, that's a need that will be satisfied, and someone will step in and make a livelihood at that need. As much as I am depressed about the state of journalism and media today, I am also very encouraged by those dirty pajama wearing younger kids and the web. I'm optimistic because one thing I see is that you can't pull the wool over their eyes. They know what's going on. They know how to get on the web and figure this out. And it's encouraging. I mean, the people I worry about more is my generation that just will never get it and will never change, you know?
Yeah, my mom.
Well, and you know, they're different people in different generations, right? I mean, there are some, you know, the people we see at journalism camps and bar camps, you know, span the age range. We span the age range here, so it's not necessarily an ageist thing, you know. And there's a lot. The something I told Steve Woodward quite a while back, as you know, he announced his retirement on SLL last year as a guest, and he's a fascinating guy with tons of experience as a reporter. And I said, you know, you're the guy to help fix this. You're the guy to make it happen, because this isn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You're the guy to help us lead the way. You get what's happening on the web. You get that this is changing, but you need to bring your expertise to this evolution. We can't just do it by ourselves.
I think it's also desire. I think that's part of it. Is Steve took the time to learn about Twitter and learn about, you know, other sorts of technology that he could be using, and you know, is not 20, you know, for lack of a better way to describe it, and he's somebody who is valid and interesting and has a particular viewpoint on this because he also has all of his experience to draw from. So I think that's another piece of what makes him really interesting, is because he has a desire to learn more. He sat down one day and went, you know, the kids are on the Twitter and I probably ought to understand a little bit about what that is. And, you know, sat down and went for it. And that's really all a lot of people have to do. And I wonder if part of the issue isn't also that. Like, what I have, some people, you know, what I have works, and if it ain't broke, you know, then, you know, if it ain't broken, I ain't broke, then I'm certainly not going to screw with what I'm doing. And I think there's probably a certain amount of that as well. It's the same thing we see anytime anything evolves. When when television came along and people thought radio was going to die, and it didn't. And when you know, when newspapers became really common and people thought like other things were going to die because of that, and you know, like every time there's an evolution, the people who are in charge are the ones who run around screaming about it dying and are the ones who try to sue and try to make it illegal, you know, just because it's evolution, and the evolution just means that these guys may get left behind. And if they're not interested in trying to improve anything, then that's how things like Napster get popular. And, you know, iTunes just proves that there are people out there who will pay for music. You know, it just has to be the right price, and it has to be something I can, you know, maybe the demand of the consumer has changed, but the consumer is still trying very hard to give the record industry money. And I think it's the same thing with news. If I could find a source of news and pay them to give me the kind of information that I'm looking for, I would be happy to pay them. They just are not out there right now. And I think it's the same sort of thing. If, you know, the people who are currently in charge of mainstream media, I think somebody at one of the journalism events here in town said, pale, stale, and male. And as long as that's who's making all, yeah, as long as that's who's making all the decisions, that's where we're going to be. You know, it ain't broke and I ain't broke. So why should I care if I set up blogging for my reporters? Why should I care if, you know, I don't, you know, if I'm getting the scoop on the other local papers, but I'm still 2 days behind everybody on the blogs, then, you know, if you're not going to be willing to embrace the new technology, when it comes around and turns out you've shot yourself in the foot by doing that, you really don't have a right to be surprised or complain. I think those are important things to consider in all of this as well.
Betsy, your reaction?
Well, I think that there are, again, people in mainstream news organizations who get it, who are doing what they can around the edges to try to affect change.
Sure.
And I won't go into, because I've told this way too many times before, the story of Oregon Live versus the Oregonian, where
are we at with that?
Well, I don't know if it's a question of where we are at with that.
There's been some improvements. They've added some
there have been some improvements,
multimedia.
and a lot of this is from people at the paper trying to have more say into what the website looks like, which was not at all the way that it was supposed to be when Oregon Live started 12 plus years ago.
So for those people who are not versed in this, and there may be some.
I feel like I've told this story so many times.
I know, and we need to better on the back story here. So the Oregonian is the last major market newspaper in Portland and in the state of Oregon. Their website is OregonLive.com, and it is not directly run by the Oregonian paper. It is run by a company in New Jersey, correct, Betsy?
Yes. Well, what it is that you've got the Newhouse family sits on top of their Newhouse media empire. You've got Newhouse Newspapers as one branch. Advance Internet is a second branch. They're like cousins, okay? So underneath Newhouse Newspapers, you have the Oregonian, and underneath Advanced Internet, you have Oregon Live. And the way that this was explained to me when I hired on, and I was actually Oregon Live's first editor-in-chief, was that many other major media companies have layers upon layers upon layers of VPs. The Newhouse family believes that instead you need layers upon layers upon layers of lawyers. And they were very, very concerned about antitrust issues at the time, and they still are. So the way that Oregon Live was set up was a second cousin twice removed. Their role was to license the content from the Oregonian and also include other content and other interactive sources as well. And in return, they advertised within the paper itself. But when I first got there was no cross-communication whatsoever. If I wanted to talk to somebody down, like Jonathan Nicholas, for example, I had to call his manager. Actually, I had to start higher up and then work my way back down the chain. I couldn't just talk to him directly. By that same token, people at the paper could not call us directly, and they had no control over what we ended up doing with their stuff. And I know for a fact that this was incredibly frustrating to a lot of people who worked at the Oregonian, as they're sitting here watching their colleagues in other newspapers in other markets have a much greater role in what that interactive, what that online element looked like. They had their hands completely and totally tied. By that same token, as Oregon Live's editor, I was frustrated by the direction that I was getting from New Jersey in a lot of cases. I came to Oregon very excited to learn about this market, about these people, what people wanted to see. I tried to, when we were a little stealth about how we worked with the paper, I tried to make sure that we were not bastardizing their stuff. Because I had to live and work alongside these people, and I wanted them to like us. I wanted to be much more collegial then than I ever do now. Because I'm a bitch. But the reality is that I would get calls from Jersey saying, why do you have a story about salmon on the homepage? And can't you just rewrite that headline? And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to rewrite somebody else's work. I didn't do that. The other lovely conversation I remember having is, why don't you guys have more about sports? Why aren't you covering more Major League sports? Well, at the time, the Blazers were the only professional team in town. At the time, Paul Allen was pulling seats out of the Rose Quarter in order to guarantee a sellout. The team was really doing horrible. This is even before the jailblazer element. So, but they were just bad. They were just bad. And I said, what do you expect me to do? Well, pick up and start talking about San Francisco's sports teams. Pick up and start talking about Seattle's teams. I said, do you understand that here in Oregon, people are into participatory sports? They bike, they hike, and I started a bike section, and I got a lot of, what do you mean? Bicycles are something you do on the weekend with your kids. And so there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of battles there. I remember this line at one point. The very vociferous guy in Jersey came back to me and just say, "This is America, damn it! Everyone loves sports." And I was like, "Oh, here we go."
But
so
I want to jump in though. I want to jump in here. I mean, that was a while ago.
It was a while ago.
And I did put the Oregon Live site online for a minute. Excuse me.
You're going to be editing this after the fact, aren't you?
Probably not. At least the audio will go up.
Okay.
But
I feel like I'm going on and on and on and on and on.
But yeah, welcome to the Gilmore Gang, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Steve Gilmore, and CamiKaos is pissed. But what I was going to say is, I've heard that things have changed. So I mean, and that was
the paper are trying to get more control. They've been trying to wrestle out more control.
And we've heard here and there that folks at the paper have said that they have more influence in the stories that go up on Oregon Live. I think the key piece is that this is owned somewhere else, and this company owns, I believe, other papers' websites as well. Yeah, and that's somewhat could be problematic, and people complain the website itself is oftentimes very hard to navigate. So in steps other entities are PDX, PDX pipeline for events. We also have, I didn't attend, but you also have the Portlander that's basically aggregating stories.
Right. I was actually at the thing on Thursday night.
How'd that go?
It went well. There were about 25 to 30 people there. I think that Abraham's going to continue to have them at the Rose and Thistle. It was a decent space.
So what is that? Tell us what that is.
What had happened was that Jeremiah Kastner, who is one of the two founders of the Portlander, came to talk about the Portlander and what they are doing and where they want to go. And apparently they've gotten some funding. They've gotten, like he said, a 6-figure round of funding that will be closing momentarily, and more funding on the way, and plans to take it national. And there were lots of people asking lots of very pointed questions because of the aggregation model. Because they are, in fact, taking other people's content and pushing it out there. And I know that they have wrestled with how to do that, respecting fair use and making sure they take a little bit of the content and then link back to the original source, and how they credit that original content, and trying to figure out a revenue stream that makes sense, so that if you, for example, are sending your content their way, you then get or sign up to get Google AdSense revenue for the ads that display on your content pages. And so he was talking about that particular model. But there were a lot of very, very pointed questions asked by the journalists and the people in the room. I made an opportunity to ask the one question that I was really curious about. And this is because I know about funding sources. When you get angel investors, when you get, it never comes without strings attached. And so I said, so what are your investors requiring of you as an entity? And what I heard back is they're requiring that they put in somebody with media experience to head up the venture itself. So they're looking at hiring somebody who's got commercial mainstream experience to come in and help run this thing.
So they're going to hire
a CEO.
And their whole model is aggregation, which is what we hear is where the money's at, right? Google aggregation. I mean, this is the thing that the AP had such a heart attack over.
Yeah.
Well, on that note.
Well, I mean, the reality is with Google AdSense or Google advertising revenue, you're not going to get a whole lot if you are one of many, 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 many content providers on a single site, depending on how much traffic that site is able to drive through. And so it's still going to be incumbent on you to promote your own stuff, because they'll do some of it for you, but they're just going to package it up in a very nice little package. So, and you're still going to have to try to figure out how to make that into a revenue source for you. And it's going to take a fair amount of manual and hard work right now. The models are out there. I mean, I joke around about that on my personal blog. The thing that kept me afloat for the longest time, especially during the summer months, was my mojito recipe, because Google loved my mojito recipe. Right. And I would get, thousands of people a day looking for my mojito recipe. And because I had Blogger ad on my site, I was getting, monthly little deposits of, $50 here, $75 there. That's fine. I'll take that money. It's November. Nobody's drinking the frickin' mojitos. I've got to figure something else out here. So, at any rate, it's hard work.
Well, folks, I think it's about time to wrap this up. I have no idea. I had to restart the recorder. So I have no idea how long we've been going. It's at least 40 minutes and then probably another 20. So we've probably been going for an hour. I will say this right now. I have no idea what I'm doing. Then again, and hopefully we will be back tomorrow, because I'm in this NaPodPoMo thing. So tomorrow is Monday, so we'll be doing something tomorrow. I'm guessing that it'll be this, unless I have some other bright idea.
I'll spare you. I won't be back.
Well, tomorrow, I think I'm chatting here. We might have Luke Leffler, Broken Hours, to talk about. He's doing some interesting things in podcasting and open mic stuff, and I'm kind of excited. I met him through NaPodPoMo, and found out he was a Portland podcaster and audio artist, and I briefly met him in person at WordCamp. So we have yet to meet and sit down and talk one-on-one, and I'm excited to get him on and talk to him about what he's doing and what he's up to. I've listened to some of his work before, and he's quite an audio artist. In the meantime, this is just fluid. Like I said, thank you very much for joining the Gilmore gang. I'm Steve Gilmore. My little joke. But
please, dear God, say I'm not that woman with the sprayed hairspray thing all over her head. Which one's it? Eleanor or somebody? Who's the woman who's got wearing the helmet? Ooh,
I don't know. Is that Gilmore Gang, or is that like your NPR?
McLaughlin Group?
Yeah, maybe.
We'll have to do the McLaughlin Group soon. So tomorrow we'll be back. I don't know what we're doing for Tuesday, because Tuesday is when we record Meme PDX. So I'm thinking we got to do something there. And I'm really, really happy that I was joined by Verso and BetsyWhim. Thank you. You're back welcome. Again.
Anytime.
It was interesting. I think this is the real-time web. This is how it goes. So.
Yep.
Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.